Hello friends, welcome into New Orleans Saints Now. Today's video is presented by Manscaped, the #1 men's grooming products on the market, and we'll tell you all about them later on in today's show. But we're talking trade targets today. My first one for the Saints with the NFL trade deadline rapidly approaching, about Kyle Fuller, the former Chicago Bear, now current Denver Broncos corner. Fuller has not fared great this year for the Broncos, and the Denver team does have depth at the cornerback position. Now, money's an issue, although the Saints have shown nobody can manipulate the salary cap better than what they can. Fuller's owed $9.5 million for the entirety of the 2021 season. Now, that includes games he's already played for Denver. Will Rounds called about half, about $5 million. A little bit expensive, but maybe Denver eats a little bit of that money, like the Texans did in the Bradley Roby trade, which so far has not worked out great for the Saints. Fuller has been a bit of a disappointment in Denver and a bit of a surprise disappointment as well, given his hype entering the season. 63.3% is his completion rate allowed, 307 yards, higher than you would want for a supposed #1 corner. The Saints, meanwhile, look, Bradley Roby has not been playing that much, and I wonder just if they've got some regrets on that trade at this point. They've played Paulson Adebo a lot, and I like Paulson Adebo. The issue is, he's not there yet. He still needs more time. If the Saints don't trust Roby right now, which I fear is the case, at least at some level, I love Chauncey Gardner-Johnson as the nickel, but this team is thin at corner. So if they want to go big and go get another corner, I think Fuller does make some sense. So I want you guys now to name a player who you want to trade for. No wrong answers. Any name that you think would help the Saints in their effort to make it back to the playoffs once again. How about a familiar face now? Brandin Cooks. The Texans, I think very clearly, are going to be sellers, and the Saints and Texans have at least a solid working relationship so far. Cooks, of course, played for the Saints from the 2014 to 2016 campaign. And by the way, his contract is very affordable for a New Orleans football team up against the salary cap. Less than $2 million is what he would be owed for the rest of the year. That is something the Saints can make work. And Cooks, despite playing with Tyrod Taylor, Davis Mills, and not having a great team around him, he has been productive in Houston. 31 catches this year. He's almost at 400 yards, just the one touchdown. But Cooks has been a very good football player across all the different teams he's played for. Now, you do start to wonder at some level if the Saints would have interest in adding Brandin Cooks, if that's something that they really want to try to go do. Are the two sides in a good spot there? But when you look at what the Saints have right now in terms of their depth chart for the Saints at wide receiver. Look, Marquez Callaway is a piece. He's cheap right now. In theory, Michael Thomas should come back at some point in the not-too-distant future. But Deontay Harris is what he is. He's not really someone you want as receiver 2, more of a wide receiver 3 or 4 there. Ty Montgomery, Kenny Stills, Chris Hogan, those guys are not what they were in their prime. Even if you get Tre'Quan Smith back, Cooks would be a massive upgrade for this team. So be honest with me, and you guys can say no. I want to hear your voices, and I want you to get your votes in for me in the comments section. Would you bring back Brandin Cooks? This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. So get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down. Y for yes or N for no. To another receiver, as there's a trend we're about to get into here. If you're the Saints, you're probably still looking for some long-term pieces, right? I think Denzel Mims could be that guy. The Jets claim they aren't going to trade Mims, who's not playing despite the Jets not having the most elite wide receiver core. As the Saints receiver room deals with injuries, question marks around Michael Thomas's long-term fit in New Orleans, because that's a weird situation, the Saints don't have a ton of top-end talent. Mims is in year 2 after being a second-round pick out of Baylor. When he's played and when he's been targeted, he's made plenty of good plays. Now, for whatever reason, Mims does not seem to fit with what the Jets are doing on offense, which I think is more of a coaching issue than anything else there. But if you're the Saints, if you could get Denzel Mims for a mid to late day 3 pick, That could be a good idea. That could be the type of young, talented, boom potential buy low candidate that makes sense for a team that's looking beyond just this year as well in terms of the trade market. Now, if you guys want to have some success off the field, you should use Manscaped. They make the best men's grooming products. Get the Performance Package for 20% off and free shipping, by the way. It comes with the awesome Lawnmower 4.0. Here's how you guys can get this deal. Head over to manscaped.com/chat. Now, that promo code and that shipping should automatically be applied. If not, at checkout, use promo code CHAT. It will get you 20% off and free shipping. All their great products, from the Lawnmower 4.0 to some of their package deals like the Performance Package, comes with the Lawnmower 4.0 and some other extra goodies to help keep you feeling fresh and fit off the field, if you catch my very obvious drift. 20% off and free shipping. I will put that link and promo code in the comments section for you. Manscaped.com/chat. The promo code chat gets you 20% off and free shipping. All right, more receiver talk here. N'Keal Harry. And Harry requested a trade in the offseason, and he has not been good. There's no way around it. Harry's been a bust in the NFL, but maybe a change of scenery would be a good thing for the former Arizona State product. He is back from injured reserve, spent the first 3 weeks on it there for the Patriots. He's got 2 years left on his rookie contract, and he's fairly cheap as well. Here's my mindset. If you're the Saints, would you rather gamble on somebody like a N'Keal Harry, or is veterans who are at the tail end of their careers like Chris Hogan or even a Kenny Stills? I know some of you guys still love him. I get that. I don't know if that's really the right one to go. Maybe you go younger. And if you can get N'Keal Harry for a late day 3 pick, maybe that's the type of gamble this Saints team should at least attempt to make before this year's NFL trade deadline. I'm not sold they need to go that route, but it's an option here. I'm going to ask you guys a question in a second, but first, I'm hoping that all of you are subscribed, but I know that's not the case. We have the data and the numbers to prove it. If you want more free Saints videos, hit that big red button and subscribe right now. I'm not done looking at receivers here. About to look at some more options. So what do you guys think? Do the Saints need to add another wide receiver? I know there are bodies on this roster. I just don't love them all that much. Maybe you disagree. If so, hey, America's about to debate, folks. So get your votes in for me. A for yes or B for no. One more name, and this is actually, I think, the least appealing of the names I mentioned, but he would also be the cheapest. Andy Isabella, the former second-round pick out of UMass, has not played on offense at all for Arizona this year. Despite being a former second-rounder, he has struggled in Arizona, and he has fallen down the depth chart. Now, he's cheap. He's got 2 years left on his deal, but this is a name that I think many people know who has been a disappointment. The numbers don't look terrible, targets to receptions. The issue with Andy Isabella, undersized vertical threat at Massachusetts. Has had issues tracking the football in the NFL. That's the skills trait issue in terms of he's fast, that's the trait. The skills of tracking the ball, not there. And he has not been enough as a slot receiver to play at all for Arizona. Frankly, Rondale Moore has been what the Cardinals were hoping Andy Isabella could maybe become. So I got some more names still to get to, folks. But first, will the Saints make a trade before this year's NFL trade deadline? Get your predictions in for me in the comment section. 1 for yes, the Saints will, or 0 for no, they will not. I want to spend some time now talking about defensive tackles. In particular, on the Jets. There are 3 names we'll get to in a second. But even though David Onyemata should return soon for New Orleans, and I like Malcolm Roach and Albert Huggins and Shai Tuttle are decent rotation pieces, there's really no wow, that's a great defensive tackle, the no impact player. So first, I want to look at, before we get to depth, guys, a splash edition. Quinnen Williams. I don't know if the Jets would move him, but they don't seem to pay anybody, which is always a weird situation. So maybe, just maybe, the Jets would shop Quinnen. Now, the Saints would have to move their first-round pick, I think, But I do that because Quinnen Williams on that defensive line, that's a big-time boost. I think he is a future star at the position. Other names, one of whom you guys know quite well. Sheldon Rankins is not playing much for New York. You could get him for a late day 3 pick, I think. And that gives you another nice piece in terms of the rotation along the defensive line. Now, you got to make sure that situation is set. But I did, after all, put a couple former Saints on this list because, hey, that should be an easy adjustment back to the team, I would think. One more name here is Florence Baracasi. He is a run stopper for the Jets. 17 tackles, impressive, getting a decent pocket push. Younger guy, should be cheap. I know that DT is maybe okay, good enough for New Orleans, but getting another addition would never hurt. And the Jets happen to have great depth at defensive tackle, and they are, after all, going to be sellers this year. One final name back to the cornerback position. Nice little bookend here. Joe Haden. The Steelers might actually end up being sellers this year. And Roby has not made the major impact that I expected, that I think the Saints expected. At least not yet. Still early. Maybe that changes. Haden is in the last year of his deal at a $7 million base salary, so we'll say cut it in half-ish. $3.5–4 million he would be owed. Now, his completion percentage this year is high. 75%, well above his normal average, only for 194 yards, so it's not that bad. Allowed 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, 2 pass breakups. Not the end of the world there. I mentioned 2 big corner names. That's the route I would assume the Saints would choose to go if they wanted to make Paulson Adebo, CB3, Bradley Roby, CB4. That's a damn good cornerback grouping for a team that will continue to lean on its defense to have success this year. The NFL trade deadline, folks, it's not that far away, and we will keep you guys updated with all the rumors and maybe more news if the Saints make another trade. So if you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe today.